Let chat buy a Harley David motorcycle for your midlife crisis. A midlife crisis stream? It's like an Amazon stream, but we only buy hair plugs and a Harley Davidson and a leather jacket. Actually, I heard. Here's a little interesting business discussion. So obviously we associate Harley Davidson with old people because of the way you made that joke. Well, it's true. They're having a generational fall off in sales because nobody young buys Harley Davidson. It's not like a brand that some will be, like, it's only old people. As they die off, the brand falls off. There is nobody getting into it from a young age. It's not like the new generation is turning old, and then, so it's bad. They're really struggling. And they tried. So I was reading a pretty interesting article about their business strategy. And they had, I think, a different CEO who tried to be like, hey, listen, this is coming. If we don't change our plans right now and start attracting younger audiences, the brand is going to die. So they tried different things and they started to lose sales with old people because of that. So they panicked, fired the CEO, and then went all in on old people shit again. They like did a desperate backpedal. And so it saved the sales for a little bit, but now they're encountering that big problem. And now they're having these big fall. It's really funny how they back themselves into a corner and then we're super short-sighted about it. It's kind of similar. It's a much larger problem, I think, than what Disney's facing with children, but similar to that, where Disney is like clearly not investing enough in getting new fans, new very young fans to be like hardcore lifelong Disney consumers. And they're making all the money from the people they did that 20 years ago on millennials. And that's sort of what's happening with Harley, where they're just, they had a great brand in like the 70s, right? And now they're reaping the benefits on all the old people now, but they're not building a new brand for the next 20, 30 years, you know? Disney got Bluey and they can't let go. I think I saw that in my comments a little bit. Just to be clear, Disney does not own Bluey. They would love to own Bluey, but they don't. Disney has distribution rights outside of Australia and the UK, but they have to pay through the nose for those, and they don't own Bluey. They can't make like a Bluey theme park. They can't do anything. Like Disney would love to buy Bluey. They would spend any amount. They want like a new Pixar type beat, but the guy's not selling it. So you're like the white Bill Gates. There's some truth to that. I am sort of like the white Bill Gates. Did you guys know I was looking at Bill Gates' stock portfolio recently, as one does, on a random Tuesday? He's rich. I don't know if you guys knew that. He's really rich. Big breakthrough news. But it's so staggering when you go through what he owns, because you always think, oh yeah, he's a multi-billionaire. He's got a ton of Microsoft stock, etc. But he's diversified it so much. And when you start adding it all up, it's like he owns $500 million of Coca-Cola stock. He owns $500 million of Walmart stock. He owns $500 million of... You just go down the list and it's like all of these companies you know of, Bill Gates just casually owns $500 million of. It's just each one of his holdings would be like generational life-changing wealth, turn around the town, you know? Like build 100 schools. It's ridiculous. It's an astronomical. Big A, would you say you're the Latino Warren Buffett? I feel like that's not something you say about yourself. That's something people say about you. Secondarily, yes, I would say that. Because people do say that about me. Oh, how Harley Davidson killed itself. We could watch that. We talked about that. It's kind of fascinating.
Harley sales are down. Quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, they're bleeding out.
They had 154.3 million outstanding shares, so about $230 million to pay out. But now the board has connived to buy back 18.2 million
stock buybacks?
So the pie might...
Wait, you're telling me that CEOs of a company would use stock buybacks to manipulate their earnings per share to make it seem like they're doing a good job when they're not, so they could get huge bonuses and then quit their jobs later on, leaving the company a smoldering ruin? I don't believe it.
See, buybacks are financed with debt, or the otherwise draining of cash reserves.
Reserves that are desperately needed.
I mean, for someone like Apple who's got $50 billion in cash just sitting around, it's a little bit different. But when they take on debt to buy back their shares, it's usually very scummy. Yeah, when companies buy back shares, the shares don't exist anymore. They just remove them. So it's less total share count. Same earnings split under fewer shares, so it makes it seem like the earnings per share is higher, even though the valuation of the company should theoretically be the same. In practice, it doesn't though, because higher EPS usually is rewarded by the market. And also buybacks are like a signaling to the market that your stock is undervalued. So in practice, it lets it to catch a higher bid. Yeah, it's the market cap split in less ways, exactly.
It isn't that the poor motorcycle industry is dragging Harley down, it's that poor Harley sales are dragging the industry down.
As Harley solidified their image of the biker, individualistic, tri-colored, and violent, they left the rest of the market wide open, communal, bright-colored, peace-loving.
Look how boring life was before TikTok. All these people have no phones. They're just laying around, and this is so sad. They had these just dreary ass sitting around, no stimulation, hellish, no content.
Ooh, while Harley's introducing bikers that fart and punch you in the teeth, Honda comes along with women and children and tennis players?
I've been a Honda
Never
hog.
before had a company really sold bikes to non-bikers. Reagan's protection sparks an upward trend. By 2006, as Harley's buyer reaches peak purchasing age, the company
And
nets
it's
over
still
$1
lasting.
billion in profit.
But time is a relentless bitch. If the average Harley rider was 43 in 1999, and 46 in 2004, and 48 in 2008, well, where are they now? Out to pasture? Harley conspicuously stopped releasing these numbers, so all we know for sure is that one of their best-selling models is a giant mobility scooter.
They stopped releasing the numbers. That's funny because my dad's in his 60s and he's like a Harley guy. I feel like those ages all lined up with my dad.
Senior citizens statistically buy few bikes, and even fewer once they're dead. So in 2008, when the recession hits, Harley releases their Parachute, the XR 1200.
And no one bought it.
Yikes! Too little, too late, bro.
One-dimensional branding is short-sighted because what's cool to the previous generation isn't just not cool to the next, it's actively uncool.
I feel like it's gonna happen so bad with Disney. I mean, it's kind of happening now, but like once these Disney adults become Disney grandparents or whatever, like...
Harley-Davidson is really dying, a long-term side effect of that pill they took in 1983, because Harley's last resort was their first opportunity.
Do what Honda did to them. Target non-bikers. The More Roads to Harley initiative brazenly shifts the company aim from building great...
Okay, this video's from 2020, right? So I think this is what happened, and then they abandoned it and went all back in on old people. I think that's what happened. My understanding, I'm familiar with this story. I think they tried going after all these new riders, and then it wasn't immediately profitable, so they cut it all and went right back in on old boomers.
The person tasked with solving these issues is Harley's CEO, Matt Levatich.
He has the most difficult job in the world.
It's one thing for Honda to do it, but Harley, with their...
Okay, I'm not saying it's an easy job, but CEO of Harley Davidson is not the most difficult job in the world. Streaming is, okay? Get it twisted. Unless he's streaming on the side, his job is not hard.
I think Harley's best hope is to accept that their good run has waned into a good night. And focus back on cruisers and rage with your customers
That's what
against
they
the
did.
dying of the light. And there is hope. And HD's replacement CEO is a rogue who took command, immediately de-emphasized more roads, then axed his own salary until the gang finds its rivets.
I like the production of that video. But yeah, I think Harley Davidson's pretty doomed, so happens.